brand new episode of Speech Musings with Annette. I'm happy to see you all after a very long time. I hope you're all safe at home. Please stay home and stay safe. Please follow all the government rules and precautionary measures that the government has provided us all with. Sanitize yourselves, take care of your family members, and I hope you're all safe at home. So we'll start with the topic for today. Today's topic is a slightly controversial topic as well as very special topic also. So we'll be talking about autism today. Autism, and is there any cause for autism? So as parents or as professionals, you must have already thought about it. Does autism have any cause for it? And what are the major causes? Or is there an exact cause for autistic features to emerge in a child? So as parents or as professionals, therapists, you all must have already been wondering about it. So today I will be talking about just one aspect of it. That is a topic or an area where most of you might not have gone into or driven deeper into that particular matter. So that topic is vitamin deficiencies. So today I'll be talking about vitamin deficiencies in autism, and is there any kind of a link, or can vitamin deficiencies cause autistic behaviors in children? So that is what I'm going to talk about today. So let's start with a little bit about what is autism. So autism, as I had mentioned in my earlier video, autism is autistic spectrum disorder, or it is also called as ASD. ASD is autism spectrum disorder. So going by the word spectrum, you must already be knowing that it's actually a very variety of disorders or a variety of conditions that come under that term. And so ASD is also called as a umbrella term. So in that way itself, you can tell that every child who's autistic is very different from the other child. You cannot say that all children are the same, because each child portrays their own set of behaviors, and that child might be very different from another child who is autistic. So that is the whole idea of spectrum. That's why it's called as spectrum disorders. So whenever we talk about ASD, the main feature that we talk about is its characteristic features. So as I had mentioned in my previous videos, I had already talked about the features of autism. So the characteristic features of autism, those are, first one is they have very repetitive behaviors. Very repetitive behaviors, or they tend to be in their own world, okay, and they do not like changing their routines. They seem to be very agitated, or they have self-harming behaviors. All these are the major features, the characteristic features which can be seen in an autistic child. So as parents or as professionals, you must have already seen children who are autistic, and you can already categorize them, or when you see them, you can almost understand, okay, this child is autistic. So those are some characteristic features. So when you talk to a therapist about an autistic child, the main thing what they might tell you is about the behavioral problem that they have a lot of social issues, they have a lot of communication deficits. So me as a speech therapist, I would look more into the communication aspect of the autistic child. Or if you go to a behavioral therapist, they might look more into the behavioral aspect. So always we focus on the behavioral issues of the child, the social communication deficits is all the only thing that we look at the child. But is there any underlying matter, or is there any underlying condition that is causing the child to be autistic in nature? Have you ever thought about it? So that is a very important area that has to be studied about or researched about. And already there are a lot of research that is there in the literature. A lot of research has been done on all of these underlying factors. So if you ask me about what is the exact cause for autism, I cannot tell you an exact cause, because research has not concluded that this is the particular cause for autism. So you cannot pinpoint to one factor and tell that yes, this factor causes autism. That is not possible, but there are a variety of factors that actually cause autism in children. And the main two factors will be genetic as well as environmental factors. So genetic wise, if I tell you there can be mutations or any other kind of underlying genetic conditions which can cause autism, but these are also not concluded. That is also one important point. Along with these genetic and environmental factors, there are other factors also, like vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies, exposure to heavy metals, heavy toxins. Okay, when all of these come inside the body, there are specific effects, and that can come out as autistic behaviors. But we always tend to overlook these factors. We don't go into these factors. We always see for the outside, what is shown in the child. So that is behavioral issues, agitation, aggression, hyperactivity, being very anxious or depressed, and all of those conditions is what we look into. But now today I will be talking about one particular point that we have to dive deeper into that particular matter, and that is vitamin deficiencies. How can vitamin deficiencies be linked to autism? So I am once again saying that I'm not telling you that vitamin deficiency is the cause for autism, but I'll tell you further research about what exactly is the correlation between vitamin deficiencies and a child having autism. So the next question you might ask me is, how is, yes, once again, vitamin deficiency related to autistic behaviors? So one thing I can tell you is that research has proved that when there is vitamin deficiency in a child, there is a chance for a greater occurrence of autistic behaviors. Autistic behaviors you already know: aggression, being anxious, depression, having their certain amount of routine. They cannot, they tend to be in their own world. They will not speak much. They have communication deficits. All these are called as autistic behaviors. So further in the video, I will be telling it as autistic behaviors. Okay. So yes. So autistic behaviors and gut issues are linked. Now, you might be asking me, okay, why do these children have autistic deficiencies? Vitamin deficiencies. Why do they have it? So one research I can tell you is that in ASD children, that is in autistic children, research has already proved that almost 90% of children have gut issues. So what is gut? Gut is gastrointestinal tract issues. So like almost 3 decades back, that is almost 3 decades back till now, if you see, the percentage has increased from almost 10% to 90%, which is a very huge range. So now you can see that in most of the autistic children, if you see, they have a lot of gut issues. So what happens, they can have a lot of these symptoms of diarrhea or constipation or related symptoms like that. So what is the main, when they have this, what happens eventually? When they have these gut issues, what happens is that whenever they eat food, like for example, they eat a very nutrient-rich food, what happens is, because of these gut issues, there is no absorption of the nutrients into the blood. Okay, so we have micronutrients, we have macronutrients in food. So when a child who is autistic eats food, what happens is that because of these gut issues, okay, there is no proper absorption of nutrients. So very less absorption of micronutrients, very less absorption of macronutrients in the blood. So obviously they will be having a vitamin and a mineral deficiency. So if you see, most of the children will be having some form of a vitamin or a mineral deficiency in their body. So as a result, what will happen when they have vitamin deficiencies, then they can have some autistic behaviors also. So that is the link between gut issues and vitamin deficiencies. So now you must have understood what is the link between having a gut issue and vitamin deficiency in the child. So you must be knowing that these autistic children are slightly picky eaters. They like to eat only certain amounts of food, so they like to eat more of junk foods, like they have a lot of sugar cravings and they like junk food. They prefer junk food over healthy food. So what happens is, a lot of nutrients are absent in their body, and like that itself they can have a lot of vitamin and mineral deficiencies also. And along with that, when there is a gut issue, there is even more reduced absorption of these nutrients into the blood. Now, you might be asking me, what are some of the important vitamins which are very deficient in their body, or very less in their body? So mainly I'll be talking about vitamin B, vitamin A and vitamin D. So these are 3 vitamins I'll be talking about in detail today. So moving on to the first one, that is vitamin B. So in vitamin B itself, there is a whole array of vitamin B, minerals are there. So particularly I'll be talking about one particular vitamin, that is B6. So B6 vitamin is also called as pyridoxine. So what is the effect of pyridoxine deficiency in a child who's having autism? So that is what we'll be talking about now. So vitamin B6 is also called as pyridoxine. So here what happens is that this B6 vitamin is very important for your neural mechanism or efficiency of the nervous system, efficiency of the neural mechanism in a person. So that is what it is important for. So it helps in regulating all of the actions that is involved with the brain or with the nervous system. Like for example, synthesis of our neurotransmitters. that is like dopamine, serotonin, all of these. So these are all neurotransmitters which are found within the brain. So when there is a lot of issues with this, that is when all of your behavioral deviations start to happen. So I can tell you now how is B6 related to these behavioral deviations. Okay, so B6 is actually involved in the synthesis of dopamine, serotonin, GABA. These are all neurotransmitters. Okay, so specifically we'll be talking about dopamine and serotonin. You must have heard about dopamine and serotonin. So these are also called as happy hormones in the body. Okay, so when there is a very mismatch between these hormones, these are also called as hormones, dopamine or the serotonin. Okay, so when there is a mismatch in these hormones, in the levels of the hormones, there will be a lot of behavioral issues that can crop up. Okay, so specifically talking about dopamine, when there is decreased levels of dopamine in the body, there is high chance for ADHD features, that is attention deficit hyperactivity disorders can crop up. So research has already proved to this particular correlation. Okay, so attention deficit hyperactivity disorders include, they lack concentration, they lack attention, they cannot sit, for one particular task for a minute or so. They have very less concentration, they cannot focus on a particular task, okay, and then they cannot sit properly, they keep running around the room, or that is one of the basic features of ADHD. So they're very aggressive, they're very irritable, okay, they're not very calm, they're not peaceful. So that is what you can see in ADHD children. So here we have already found the relation, that is when there is decreased dopamine level in the body, there is high chance for probability of ADHD features. Coming on to serotonin. Serotonin is also another hormone. Serotonin is basically again found in the gut. So most of serotonin, even though it's mostly found in the brain activities, it is also found in the gut. So you can obviously get that relation, serotonin and gut issues. So obviously if you have a gut issue, serotonin levels will also go for a toss. Okay, you can have very low serotonin levels. So when you have very low serotonin levels, again there will be increased mood swings, aggression, anxiety, a lot of depression or irritability or attention deficit behaviors. All of this come with low serotonin levels. Also, you can see that children who have low serotonin levels in the body, they have high cravings for sugar, sweet items. They have high cravings for sugar and they prefer more of junk food over healthy food. So you must have understood now what is the relation, between a B6 deficiency and autistic behaviors. So when there is B6 deficiency in the body, obviously there is low levels of GABA, low levels of dopamine, low levels of serotonin in the body, and the concurring issues that happen that I talked about right now. So if a lot of research has already concluded that when there is a vitamin B6 deficiency, all of these factors are affected, and so because of that there is a lot of behavioral deviations that can crop up in the child. And also research has proved that when you take supplements for these vitamin supplements are administered to the child with autism, a lot of improvement has been seen in their behavioral issues, and also as a result of that, because the behavioral issues are all resolved, their social communication deficits are also all resolved gradually. Okay, so this is what research has already proved. Moving on to the next important vitamins, that is vitamin B12 and vitamin A. So both of these vitamins, a lot of research has already been conducted on these, and again it has been proved that if there is a deficiency in vitamin A and also in vitamin B12, okay, there can be a lot of mood swings in the child, irritability, anxiety, depression, and also aggressive behaviors. Aggressive behaviors, or you can say self-harming behaviors, are crop up in the child when there is a lot of deficiency in these two vitamins, that is vitamin B12 as well as vitamin A. Okay, so here again, so research has proved that when there is a vitamin deficiency, there definitely can be a lot of behavioral deviations that can be seen. So obviously, when you see these behavioral deviations, you tend to confirm it as yes, the child has autism, and then you tend to overlook these factors. So why I'm talking about these vitamin deficiencies is because we have to dive deeper into the matter. You have to go into the underlying conditions. Okay, maybe there is something more than all of these behavioral issues. Maybe there's something more than just the child having communication deficits or just having social deficits and all of that. Moving on to the next important vitamin, that is vitamin D. So vitamin D, as you all know, in general terms, you can say vitamin D is very important for your bone, density, for bone protection. Everything is very important. So vitamin D has a very great link with your behavioral condition, behavioral issues also. So like for example, vitamin deficiency, when there is very low levels of vitamin deficiency at birth, that is just when the child is born. If the child has very low levels of vitamin D in the body, then researchers prove that the child is at very high risk for autism, or the child is at very high risk for having autistic behaviors, especially these behavioral issues can be seen in the child. So what happens at that time itself, if it is not resolved, that is at birth itself or at infancy, if these low levels of vitamin D is not resolved, then what happens further into adolescence and further into the childhood? The child can have a lot of behavioral issues like anxiety, aggression, self-harming behaviors. Again, being a lot of mood swings, being very anxious and all of that is there. And also once they enter school, okay, they can have a lot of learning issues or thinking capability will be compromised, or their learning will be compromised. So that is also very important. That has to be taken into consideration. Also, researchers prove that memory can also be compromised when the child has very too much of deficiency in vitamin D. So these are the important vitamins. As you can see, research has proved all of these factors, that these important vitamins, that is vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin B12 and vitamin B6, okay, are some of the vitamins, okay, and some of the minerals that are very important, and they be very much related to your this thing, that is your neural mechanism and your neural efficiency and all of that. Because we already know autism is a neurobehavioral condition. So when all of these deficiencies are resolved, to a certain extent, you can improve the autistic symptoms. So you might be asking me, so if I, resolve all of these vitamin deficiencies, can I cure autism? So that is what many of you might already be thinking right now. So can I cure autism if I cure my child's vitamin deficiencies? So I am not telling that, you can completely cure autism, but I can just say that you can reduce the symptoms of the autistic child to a great extent. Okay, so these are certain factors, these vitamin deficiencies are certain factors which are overlooked by parents or overlooked by professionals. So even when you go to a doctor or even when you go to a therapist, okay, they always look into the behavioral aspects, they look into the social aspects, or they look into the communicative aspects. And these are all very important. Speech therapy is important, behavioral therapy is important, occupational therapy is also important for an autistic child. But if it's better if you can go deeper, okay, it's better if you can go into the deeper metabolic conditions of the child. See if the child is having any kind of, a toxicity in the body, if there is any, kind of heavy metals in the body, is the child having any kind of mineral deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, just check into that, okay? Just go for a blood checkup, you can check if any of these deficiencies are there. And based on that, if you do a symptomatic treatment for the child, then there can be better results. And the outcome of the autistic treatment will be much better. So I hope you all understood about the link between vitamin deficiencies, gut issues, and the emergence of autistic behaviors in children. So I know that this is a slightly controversial topic because a lot of our therapists, a lot of our professionals are always looking into the behavioral matters, social matters, communication deficits, but not into the further underlying conditions. So as a take-home message, I can tell you is that, please dive deeper into the matter, understand your child better. Okay, please, research on your child or the further conditions that the child is portraying, so that you can understand your child better. And according to these vitamin deficiencies, if you have a doubt on this, you can please go and have a blood checkup. Okay, and then if in case you find these vitamin deficiencies are seen in your child, then based on that, symptomatic treatment is very important. And these kind of treatments, medical treatments, along with rehabilitative options is also very important. Please do not, stop your speech therapies or your child's occupational therapies or behavioral therapies just because I told you this, because this is just one cause. I'm not telling you that this is the exact cause for autism. Okay, I'm just telling you this is one of the causes of autism. And if you can resolve these vitamin deficiency issues, then obviously your autistic child's symptoms can be controlled to a very great extent. So that's just the thing that I want to tell you people. So once again, I hope that this video was very helpful to you. If you have any comments, any queries, you can please mention it in the comments below, or can you please mail to my mail ID. So I hope you found this video helpful once again. Thank you for all the support till now, and I expect much more support and motivation and encouragement in the future. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and please watch all of our videos in the future too. Thank you and stay safe.